hearts.
Is that everything you need to succeed in life, to become who you have to become, to raise a healthy family, to have a good career,
Provided. Now, if I should summarize this in one sentence, then I would say, from the words of our dear brother, that God has intentions for you. But it is your choice that will determine whether the intention. Wow, amazing. Now, you make a forceful argument, I think if I remember correctly. When you make a forceful argument, what do you mean by that? Can you be able to develop that a little bit?
This guy. Well, I'll ask you a question. Now, for those who are Cameroonians, I ask you, are you a good cook? Like, do you like and not to embarrass you, but does your family look forward to you cooking?
Well, a burnt offering, yes.
I can give you, or someone can give me. I am not a good cook. You can give me all the ingredients that are needed to create, let's say, a remarkable meal. Whatever meal it is. You can give me all the stuff. You can buy it and give it to me. You get it? But just because I have all the ingredients that I have, there's no guarantee that I'll cook a great meal. It is the same thing about life. No, the issue about it is that it's not that you don't have everything that you need to build a great life. So, life principles are like a good recipe in the hands of a great chef. Because that's what differentiates a great chef like the Michelin 5-star chef from you and me. Not so. We know the same ingredients. We can buy them. But the way in which they mix things together, the time and the sequence is what produces the meal at the end. And that's what makes them. So life principles are the same. At least in my view, not so. There are two things that I listed in chapter 2 in particular that I want to highlight. Is the first one that life principles don't care about your ideology. They don't care about your ideology. And we can see that from some of the natural principles that we all see, like the principle of gravity. It doesn't care about whether you believe in it or not. It doesn't care about whether you are a Republican, a liberal. It doesn't care. Gravity is going to work. It's either going to work for you or it's going to work against you. So in order for you to do well in life, you have to understand that the same thing. Marriage has principles. Raising up children has principles. To become a great athlete, a great musician, there are principles for you. So you can choose to ignore those principles and have the intention that you are going to become a great athlete. But guess what? You cannot fight against gravity, because at the end, gravity will always win. And that's the argument I made in chapter 2, that before you read all the principles, you have to understand why they exist and why you cannot afford to ignore them. If you have any intention to aspire to be someone who is impactful in life, in any area, you cannot ignore life principles.
Wow. Great answer. One thing I am able to deduce from your explanation, you seem to be contending very forcefully, as it were, on the necessity, or for lack of a better word, you seem to highlight the potency of principles.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think will be some reasons why people will tend to neglect what actually makes for success?
Yeah.
Because if you're talking about the potency of principles, what are some of the reasons why people will tend to ignore such great truth?
Well, so you looked at the video that we started off with, not so, because the doctor told me that you have high blood pressure. I was just 40. That's 5 years ago. Faithfully. Because the doctor gave me a choice. He says, well, I can put you on a medication, or I can challenge you. Those who know me, 5 days a week, winter or summer, I'm exercising and eating well. I did it 5 years, I have good blood pressure. Not so. So one of the issue is that one I know. And therefore, I cannot afford to look like a weak. For all of us is the cost. There is a cost in applying principle. Your challenge that we have is that we are just not willing to put in the effort and cost. I mean, I love to just sit down and I come back after work in the winter, watch my TV, watch on the treadmill. In the summertime, I have to go. The second thing that I listed in the book, I mean, there are 4 issues, especially for people in the faith, the wisdom of God. So let me give you an example. I want you to prove that you have faith in God. To make people are living today, even in the church. And Jesus stand back and look at
balance. Being a spiritual man and also in a secular life have remained in a perpetual vegetative state. Whoever walked upon the surface of the earth, apart from Jesus Christ, was And when Solomon would make it clear that wisdom is the principal thing.
Yeah.
Wisdom is the principal thing, not even faith. Faith has its place, but wisdom is the principal thing. Also challenge people of faith to understand that there is a need. In fact, if you do that, you'll be in trouble. Or you can't be driving a car without gas, and you're speaking. Thank you so much for providing the balance. I would like us to look at. So I have some 6 of the book, which I also find very intriguing and thought-provoking. In chapter, you seem to glorify. Now, how can failure fuel success? Can you be able to explain this?
Yeah.
Leave seeking failure because failure somehow will be a catalyst or will push them.
It is a paradox, not so.
Yes.
I was trying to talk about the mindset where we are afraid to fail. The idea is not that I'm looking to fail, it's that we are afraid to fail. And you are looking at someone who has failed shamefully. The formative years of my life was full of failure. A lot of people don't know that. They just look at me today. I come from a culture where if you do not pass your exit exam at the end of the school year, you are forced to stay in the same class. I stayed in elementary school. I repeated twice. I was held back twice until my junior sister met me. You understand? So I know failure. I talk about it in chapter 4 of the book. Not so. And so I'm talking about because I had that experience, I had become someone that, except something is guaranteed to be successful, I will not even try it. Because I don't want to fail. So it's that spirit that I was trying to talk about in chapter 6. Anyone can dream. We are all dreamers. The kids, the adults, all of us have dreams. Then one of the things that differentiate people who are dreamers from those who are achievers is that those who are achievers, they have mastered how to deal with failure. They are not afraid to fail. They've understood that the secret to see success is to understand failure as a tool. So, let me talk a bit about that. Let's take sports for instance. My son is into basketball. Not so. Let's look at tennis. Basketball, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant. The people in basketball that have the most missed shots in basketball are the top performers in the league. Go and search it out. Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, they have the most missed shots in the game. You are completely paralyzed. You don't see any need to try it again. You declare yourself. So I have in there that show me anyone who is successful. But this is the trick. And I've changed my vocabulary. I practice. Before Michael Jordan comes in the game to shoot that I have it in the book. It says, my team has trusted me 1,000 times to take the game shot. That's the secret to my success. Because before he comes to the game, in practice, he has done that or Bryant or King James today. When he takes that shot at the and in practice, he has failed like 90% of the time. But they call it practice, they don't call it failure.
There is no more failure.
It's practice.
It is not failure, it is practice. Yeah. It is no more failure, it is practice. Can we say that failure is not really failure, it's actually success? A good friend of mine, just to buttress the point he's making, said to me, I fail, I actually learn. I've just learned one new way of not doing it.
Exactly.
So when I miss it, I've just learned that this is not how it's supposed to be done. Yeah. I've just learned one new way of not doing it. So thank you for throwing light on that. And indeed, it's not failure, it is practice. I hope my wife is listening. Don't judge me after the judgment, and it's practice. So wonderfully elaborated on. But can you be able to just expatiate on some of the pillars of the failure of how failure can be seen as a catalyst.
As a
because
catalyst,
in the book you list quite a good number of them.
Yeah.
I want you to be able to
let me talk on one. In the book, I introduced this concept that I'm using, which I call the failure feedback loop. Because if you say that failure is learning, then failure is a feedback loop. Not so. So look at me here sitting with you at the stage. I mean, we are setting ourselves up for something. I mean, we've never done this before. I've never written a book before. And so I had to face my fear, to put my name out there, to put the book out there, to say, guys, you have the right to critique me, critique my work. So I have this concept of a failure feedback loop. And so because the moment you accept that failure is part of success, the question then is that you want to fail quickly. You don't want to spend 5 years failing on one thing. Let me use the example of university students. Most people who have been to university, some are in university now. You see when you go to university, you will see one student that came in assuming that they know what they want to do. They will pay their money for 4 years. They finish their 4 years. After 4 years, they say, I don't like to become a nurse. And then they go back and start something else. On the other hand, you will see some students who come and recognize that I have no clue what I'm doing. I'm going to spend one or 2 years just exploring different majors. And then after 1 or 2 years, after they have sampled, they know what they want to do. So they might spend 5 years to do an undergrad degree, but they leave satisfied. Whereas somebody would think that they know, after 4 years, they abandon it and go to something else. Who, in this case, has done it well is the person who failed fast. You use 1 or 2 years to sample and fail, and then you pick what is successful and do it. So it's the failure feedback loop that you have the idea conception, you have the third step to evaluate the results, then in the middle, you want to make that process really short. I have a funny one that I want to speak to those who are single. Also, it's there in the book as well. You cannot spend 5 years dating somebody without that person committing to you. You have to figure out. Exactly. I'm speaking to the young women now. I've seen people dated someone for 5, 6 years, then the person don't be after 6 years. You understand? You want to make the feedback loop short. Within a year or two, the person will decide whether or not you are the one. If they can't decide, why are they blocking your parking spot? So you want to shorten your failure feedback loop because that relationship might not work. You don't want to spend 5 years to figure out that it doesn't work, and by 5 years you say, you are, especially for women, you are older. You want to make sure that between 1 or 2 years, that guy has to decide. So I talk about the failure feedback to make it short, so that you can fail quickly, and then ultimately within 2 or 3 years you find something that works for you. So that is one of the strategies and the principles that I have under that one that people are going to find in the book, and there are 3 or 4 more others.
Wow. Well, read the book. Read the book. If you don't want people to block your parking spot, read the book. Whether it's a parking spot in relationships, a parking spot in career, a parking spot in any sphere of life, read the book. Learn quickly, learn fast, and move on in life. That's right. Now, I have one last question for you as we move on to something else. When John writes, he seems to conclude his gospel by presenting the essence of his writing. John says, this has been written so that you may know that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, and that believing you may have life. So right there he explains to us why he wrote. Because every author has a reason. They have a hope. They have an essence of their writing. Now, what do you seek to achieve through this book? What is your hope? You've assembled approximately 100 people, and there are many more, maybe 1,000 or so, watching us online from the comfort of their homes. What is your message? What is that take-home message? What are you seeking to achieve through this book? What do you hope to plant in our hearts as a seed that for years to come, when we think of you, we will remember that very thing?
Yeah, I will say this. I want people to understand and appreciate through reading this book that nothing of significance happens by accident. Nothing of significance happens by accident.
Please, if you don't mind, can we just say that together? Let it sink. Nothing significant in your life will ever happen by accident.
Exactly.
Can we say that one more time? I think it's important. Please.
Exactly. Not so. There's no accident. And that's why you need to have an appreciation of the process and the tools that you have. For me, this book and the life principles are those tools. And now you have the option. You are not forced to choose them. I talked about what King Solomon said. King Solomon says is that if you don't sharpen your axe, it will be hard to use. If you are wise, well, you know what to do. He didn't force you. I mean, if you see someone taking an axe that is blunt and is trying to chop a giant tree, you say the person is foolish. Also, but Solomon says, if you don't sharpen it, it will be hard to use. You may bring down that tree eventually, but something that would have taken you 2 hours may take you 1 year. And your back will be broken, and your body will be hurt, and you may be sick. So that is what I hope that people are going to get out of this book. Is that people are going to be wise, and people are going to make use of the tools that they have in life, the tools that are shared in the book, to ensure that they sharpen their axe in the big areas of life.
Can we put our hands together for Thank you so much, Dr. Jacob. And indeed, the book is a gem. And before MC comes up, if there is one closing remark I would want to give, or one last statement you want to give, I'm the one interviewing you, so you go first.
I just want to thank every single person who has shown up here today to support the book, to support me. And we don't take this for granted. We are truly honored. I mean, look at the number of people that have shown up on the Saturday, on the beautiful autumn. We want to thank you. My family and I, we just came back from Cameroon. We spent a year in Cameroon. My brother here was in Cameroon, and he saw what God had laid on our hearts to do. 100% of the proceeds of this book goes towards what we are doing in Cameroon. God has laid in our hearts to give back to the youths of Cameroon. This same message. We want to combine leadership development, capacity development, and discipleship. And so we have started a campus ministry for the youth of Cameroon. 100% of the proceeds. If this book makes, I was talking to someone, and when I heard, I said, Brother Jacob, are you serious? I said, yeah. He says, all this suffering, I said, yeah. I said, this book makes $1 million. It's all going to the youth of Cameroon. It doesn't mean that it's going to be and so, my appeal to all of these is that we want to take this message outside of this room. On social media, people you know, share the book, mention the book, like my page, share the page. Because that's the only way it's going to go beyond us selling 200 books here. So that we can invest and give back to the youth of Cameroon.
So, in conclusion, I would say choose life. In choosing life, you are not only ameliorating your own life by learning some very, very foundational principles that will guarantee success in every sphere of your life, but in choosing life, you are also helping to better the life of another person somewhere that you may never ever get to meet or even get to know. But in choosing life, in buying the book, in reading the book above all, in becoming a better person, in supporting, you'll be helping other people to better their own lives. We are very grateful that you came, and we invite the MC back to the stage. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Pastor Benjamin. Dr. Dwala Ikoko, we'd like you to stay there, and that's a copy for you.
Thank you.
And I just... Okay, so I don't know. Do you want to come over to read? Okay, thank you so much. So right now we'll go over to the book reading. And before you do that, when we were talking about the practice, I just want to remind everybody about our goal for this evening, our practice for this evening. We have taken that commitment to let so many people, as many people as we can reach, to get the knowledge from this book. So this is one of, because I'm a good person who can hear just somebody say something, and I use that knowledge to make somebody get that knowledge, the entire thing, without really reading it. So what am I trying to say? I'm saying that this is the time for you to get some of that knowledge that can spur you to inspire some other person to read the book. You don't really have to read the book to encourage somebody to get a copy. So this is the time. We want to give you...
And a season for every activity under heavens. This is a quote from the book of Ecclesiastes in the Bible. I read, the people of Canada have a unique perspective of the differences a change of season brings. The seasons are so dramatically different that you will be forgiven for thinking you were in a different country if you visit the same city at various times of the years. The foliage on the trees, the attire of the people, the activities we engage in, even our mood is significantly different. The mood of Canadians is at its worst during the winter seasons, which is notoriously harsh in most cities, with lots of snow, fewer hours of daylight, and bone-chilling cold. The spring season is wet but magical, as we witness dead plants and animals come alive. Summer is for outdoor living. There is a bounce in every step, as people enjoy over 15 hours of daylight and great weather. Autumn for me is simply the best. It's stunningly beautiful. But as much as we enjoy the beauty of autumn and would love to hold on to it forever, we know it cannot last. Everyone is aware things are about to change the moment the colorful leaves start falling off the trees and must start preparing for the dreadful winter. No one can afford to ignore the implications of changes of seasons. Even our birds understand this and must immediately start migrating to their summer homes in South America. Any bird who fails to migrate south in time may not survive the winter season in the north. But seasons represent more than weather patterns only. They are a formidable force of change that interrupts and shapes every aspect of human existence. Getting married, the birth of a new child, death in the family, moving into a new home, or the loss of a job are examples of the seasons of life. Life is never constant. It frequently demands that we move on to something new, different, or even unknown. Given our desire for stability, the thought of change, even potentially positive change, triggers anxiety for most. Change comes with uncertainty and takes away our sense of being in control. As such, most people would prefer that which is known, even when not ideal, than stepping into the unknown. But change is not an adversary. It is an essential catalyst for progress and opportunities in life. Some changes are the product of our choices. Others will happen whether we want it or not. Some are so subtle that it takes years to be noticeable. Situations will come your way that force you to change, or at least re-examine how you choose to live life. Everything and everyone are a product of change. Change brought us here, and change will soon put us in the history books. I see people are following, so then you're following right from the top. Entertaining the idea of a new chapter in life isn't necessary only after a challenging season, but also in a good season. Even a good season must end in order to move on to something better. Holding on to a good season when its time has passed robs you from better and better things ahead. It is hard to imagine that the knowledge and strategies that brought you great success may be in need of an update, that your experience may be obsolete, and the results of failing to recognize and adapt to imminent change may be suicidal. That was the painful and irreversible mistake of the BlackBerry. Do you remember those? The BlackBerry was the first mainstream smartphone and a worldwide sensation, with over 50% market share in North America and 20% globally when Barack Obama was elected President of the United States of America in 2008. Its popularity was legendary, such that President Obama insisted, against the tradition of the US presidency, to keep using his private phone during his tenure. But the company that gave the world the first smartphone disregarded the forces of change. Even in the face of overwhelming evidence that touch-screen phones will be the future, the company behind the BlackBerry dug in their heels and refused to produce a touch-screen version of their product to compete with the iPhone and the Android devices. They were stubbornly out of tune with the changing seasons because of their past success. By the time Obama left office in 2016, the BlackBerry had become a footnote in history. It was a catastrophic meltdown that will be taught in business school for years to come. How can one avoid the fate of the BlackBerry? By recognizing that even success is seasonal. Success has a shelf life. In order to take hold of that which is better, one must let go of that which is good. The mighty BlackBerry, which crafted the magic formula and pioneered the smartphone industry, believed they were the unchangeable gold standard. They were convinced they couldn't be anything better and failed to notice the changing preferences of their customers. They stopped learning and became arrogant and entangled with outdated knowledge, an assumption that has brought them success in the past. The creators of the BlackBerry lost their curiosity and innovative edge. They couldn't imagine that anyone outside their bubble could be correct. They failed because they ignored change. No person or corporation is immune to the misfortune of the BlackBerry. Unless you learn to appreciate the revelation that beauty is seasonal, your past success will become your grave. Thank you.
Wow.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And I do agree with the author that most of us do not like change. In different aspects of life, most of us do not like change. I remember working for Scotiabank for 2 years and did not want to change my seat. My seat. Just my seat. It tells a lot. We have to move with the changing times. And so choose life to move with the changing times. If you are used to eating and just lying on your bed, or eating and you ignore exercises, you ignore the other principles, then you're up for worse than practice. Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Jacob Dualai Koko. I want to take this time to acknowledge the wife of the author, Yvonne Dualai Koko. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give her a hand. You can imagine what it took for our brother to write this book. Yeah, before we used to say, behind a successful man, there is a hardworking woman. No. I say it with all vehemence. No! Besides a successful man, there is a hard-working woman. Thank you very much, Mrs. Brown. Thank you, because this is also your success, and we all are going to benefit from. I'm sure some of the stories will also concern you. My brother is a very good storyteller. Dr. Dualai, he's a really good storyteller. And I'm very happy that we have our future who are here. Some of them are sleeping, but they're hearing. They're here. Yes. And if we want to groom them to be storytellers in the future, we have to start bringing them to such events. Because this is where we show them that this is the future. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful. Let's give a hand once again to Dr. Dualai. Right now, I'm going to call my brother Terence to come up. He's going to take us through the promotion part of the book. and get your wallets ready. Also, if you have friends and acquaintances and you think that this book is really going to help them, of course it's going to help them. You know, I was talking to one of my friends, he's a father, a short while ago, just before we came here, and my husband was like, I will not be here, because I was trying to force the book down his throat. I'm like, look, Father, you really have to read this, and you also have to tell your parishioners about this, because this book really is really hard. And he was like, okay, slow down. So that's what Uncle T is going to do for us. Terence Newport is going to take us through the promotion part of the book.
Thank you very much, my sister. Thank you, every single person, for being here today. I think the book is already a success because of you all. I'm going to start by reading from Proverbs 4:7. This is the New Heart English Bible. Wisdom is supreme. Get wisdom. Yes, though it costs all your possession, get understanding. So I'm saying if the book was $100, what Proverbs is saying is that for wisdom, we can still pay even way more in order to get it. Because with everything that we've gotten here today, that is what we need in order to change even for the better, even as our environment is changing. Because if we do not change, we're going to be left behind. And I just want us to put our hands together for yourself and for everyone who stand up here today. I am close to the author, if I can say that, and I've not finished reading the book, but so far, whatever I am reading, you can see it in his life. And we don't want this book to just end with us here. And I think we're here today because somehow, Brother Jacob has written something amazing, and every single one must, with a big M, get a copy. Do we have anyone here that doesn't have a copy? Please, if you do not have a copy, and if you invited someone and that person don't have their wallet, we have enough copy for everyone. Please get a copy. And we want to urge every single one to be part of the team, the marketing team, to get this amazing city, and you're the only person who sees before you bookmarker. Who's having the bookmarkers? Who is sharing? Who is sharing the bookmarkers? The person should stand up. Daniel. If you are not having the bookmarker, please put up your hand. Those who are on our social media pages, and we're going to make sure that every single person that's on our brother is coming to share the bookmarker for those who are not having it. I'm grateful for technology, because if we flip out our phones, if you flip out your mobile phone, if I'm going too fast, please ask me to slow down. Okay, while other people are getting the bookmarker, I just want to reiterate again, 100% of the proceeds of this book is going towards ministry and capacity building in youth in Cambodia. So it is not just a way of promoting what we are doing as a community, but you're also getting an amazing piece of work. So if you scan the QR code and click on the link, you will see this. And we want to encourage everyone here. You can, the last 4 links at the bottom, where you have joined the Facebook community, you click on it. Say, I've clicked on the Facebook community one. You go to his Facebook page. Where you see home, you can just go to post. Click on post. Click on post, and the video that we just saw here about the pill. Okay, should I backpedal a bit? If you scan the QR code, a link is going to come up. Click on that link. Scan with your camera. Open up your camera. Scan the QR code. A link is going to encourage every single one of you here. It's to help us share to get more direction. So if you go onto that page, what we want to encourage you to do is to first like the page, post the page on your, or share the page on your social media profile, and then you comment on it. And for those who have read the book, you don't need to read the book totally. We really want your honest comment on that page. And if you have so for those who have bought the books here, how many people have bought the book here today or before? Right, so yes. Right, so there is a promotion that we're going to do because we want to also encourage you to promote this book to those that are around you. You know, your friends, your family. So there is a promotion code that we are doing today for 15% off. So if you go on that first page, after you scan the QR code, all the way at the bottom, if you click on get 15% discount, what would happen is that you come to this page, enter your email address. If you enter your email address, then we're going to get your email and then we'll send you a link. That link will have a 15% discount. And we want to encourage every single one here. If you've gotten a copy, get a second copy. It's because of the second copy that you're getting the discount, and give it to someone as a gift. That link is going to take you to Amazon page. And because this is your second copy that you're going to be purchasing, we want to really encourage you to do two things. You're buying the second book from the Amazon page. We want you to leave an objective comment. We're not coercing you in order to go there and leave a 5-star review. If you do, we'll really be pleased. But because we're really objective with the amazing work that has been done, if you read the book, you don't need to read all the book. We want you to leave your objective comment and then you rate the book. Because as you rate the book and you buy the book, once we have that on the social media platform, someone goes there, the first thing that they're going to do is to go to the rating. They want to see what people are saying, those who have read the book. So if you read, even if it's 1 or 2 chapters of the book, go on that on Amazon. When you buy that second copy on the 15% discount, please rate the book and leave your comment, okay? And it is not just through this means that we want you to promote this book. This book is also very, very important for our young people because we want our young people to make those mistakes and make the mistakes very early. By the time they get to our age, they'll make enough mistakes that they can pave a stronger path than we did in our lives. Right. So if you are a parent and you have kids who are within the age of say 12 to 15 or even 18 and even above, I think December is coming. This will be an amazing day, right? Buy it for them and even have a chat with them and see what they've gathered from the book. And we want to also let you know that you must not be the one to buy this book in order to get the 15%. If I was not here today, thank God I'm here, my wife can send me the link and then I can go on Amazon and then I'll benefit from the 15% as if I was here. So we want to also encourage you to, once you get onto, once you receive that link that we sent to you through email, share it with your immediate, with your sphere of influence. Share it with your friends. Once you've read the book and you think it's had a serious impact in your life, or you really, really appreciate the content of the book, share it with those that you really want them to enjoy. Go to someone else. Let the person read the book and then benefit from the content, okay? I don't want to be the only marketing manager. I want all of us to be marketing manager, because I know it is not the first, and we will assemble ourselves here and then we'll market the book again, okay? And I can walk you throughout the process, but I want to encourage every single one. Do not leave here without buying a copy. My brother Clovis is over there. He's a finance manager. And if you bought a book and the author has not signed your book, he will be available after the meeting and you'll be able to sign your copy. I'll invite MC.
Thank you so much for the team. And so we all must go back with a copy or 2 or 3 of the book. Remember our goal for the day. Our goal was that we will clear that table. Everybody take a look at the table. That we will clear the table.
Yes.
Yes. Are we still on that commitment?
Yes.
I want to hear it. Are we still on that commitment?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We are. Right now, we are going to, and I remember counting them because I didn't want to miss even one amen. Otherwise, I will not have the job. And so it reminded me bitterly about the misuse of faith. So we are not immune to some of the things, many of the things which are in this book, we fall victim to, we experience. Maybe you have yours, maybe you have a comment or a review. Anything else?
I just want to congratulate you. You'll be wiser. But I realize that at times things going through my mind. I've observed the community, I've observed the society around me. I thought I've lived a very good and healthy life. And now I want to write a book. So you are not that young either. So at what point did you sit down and started writing this book? Because of intellectual or a lot of intellect. You coach people, you do your job, you coach people, you are a good father at home. My kind of job, I don't really use my head. I can use my hands and I will just do it with my eyes. So I want to ask you, or you make drafts on papers and throw like 1,000 papers away? I don't know. I really want to do something with my own age.
Yeah, I mean, I want to thank you very much by championing me. Yeah, I mean, one of the challenges that we have is time. We all have the issue of time. And when the pandemic started, remember all of us were locked down. We were all home, and everyone suddenly had free time. We had a lot of time. They took up a second job, they took up a hobby. But that's when I started writing. You have all these great ideas. The people here, they were part of my challenge network. Every year I run what I call a challenge network. I have 4 to 5 people that we meet right together, we read books together, we encourage one another. And so they were the guinea pigs. They actually saw the rough draft. I was telling to them, they'll read it, they'll critique it, they'll give ideas, and then we develop it and refine it. And so it's just a process. Put time, 2 or 3 times a week, block it on your calendar, start with a rough outline of the chapters, then create a rough outline of each chapter, and then you just start writing. Don't try to make it perfect. And then once you have something, you send it to some of the friends to critique it and review it. I mean, it took 2 years, it's 2 years. If you want to write a book, hopefully a good book, it's going to take time. You just have to follow a simple plan as I've explained.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm really sick because I'm on heels.
I just wanted to say that when Auntie gave me the book to read, at first I was skeptical and I was wondering why she wanted me to read the book, because I assumed that because it was written by an older person that it's geared towards an older audience. But after reading it, I realized that I actually related a lot to a lot of things in the book, especially chapter 5, Don't Ignore Change, because it was nice knowing that there was an adult who understood that change is constant, change is imminent, but also realize that change can be scary and it can be anxiety producing, especially like for me. I'm in my early 20s, so I graduated university in a year. So I know that after university there's going to be change, and I think it was nice to know that there was someone who was been through the change that understood that there's something at the end of the road. And I think sometimes I can be like the blackberry where I'm indifferent, I'm stubborn, I don't really want change, but I realized that I do want to work on it, and I think it was comforting to know that someone else wanted to work on it with me. So I just wanted to thank you and say that I think a lot of young people, especially my age, would benefit from reading something like this from someone with experience.
Thank you. Thanks. It means a lot for me to hear the younger ones, the next generation, give an honest review of the book. I just thank you very much, and I hope you can help us spread the word. When I reached out to people initially to help me spread the word, if you know me, I don't believe in false publicity. And so I told them, I'm going to give you 1 or 2 chapters. Really, if you don't like it, you don't have to say yes. And so I'm glad to hear that you truly enjoy it. And I want that when you're sharing something you want to be proud, that when you give somebody, they'll not read and they'll say, oh crap, Don't just do it because you know me. You happen to know me as an author, not so. They do it because you read something and it truly inspires you and you believe that other people should hear it. So it really means a lot for me to hear that. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Dr. Ekwan.
Thank you.
I think you've done an amazing job. This is indeed an amazing piece. And I am privileged to be part of that Your Challenge network that went through this book as part of Expedition 2021. It appears each time I meet you, there is always something new. In fact, I did not know that when it comes to humor, in your home, you are first in line. Also today, I just learned that it is really important to not allow someone to occupy our parking spot for too long. But I think what I actually want to touch on is regards to, just as a follow-up to the feedback loop that you described. You've talked about failure. In fact, you described it as practice. But I want to push it to a different level. I believe as part of this book, probably in chapter 3, you talked about vision. And if I recall correctly, as part of that chapter, there is also some discussion about opportunities. In fact, I'm one of those that, I don't know how my mind works, but there is a lot that goes through my mind. And some of these things that I think about, I consider them to be opportunities.
Yeah.
And sometimes we are confronted with a lot of opportunities, and it's so hard to decide which direction to follow.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, as part of principles of impactful and victorious living, I'm not sure if I'm citing that correctly, I'm just wondering what kind of advice you have for the young generation, but also for us, adults. What kind of advice do you have when we are confronted with opportunities? How do we decide which direction to follow?
That's a very good question. The first principle he's talking about is chapter 3. And so chapter 1 is introduction, chapter 2 is the justification of the book of why you can afford to ignore principles and what principles are all about. And then chapter 3 is the first principle, right? And it says this, it says, always start with vision. Always start with vision. I often explain to people that let's say we finish here and you want to go home and you don't have a car. It will be very foolish to just jump into the first car that stops to pick you up without asking any questions. But if you don't know the direction that you're going, then any car that stops you can jump in. You see. So opportunities come your way, opportunities come my way. But however, if you know the direction that you're going, you can easily say no to them because it's not every opportunity that's meant for you.
That's right.
I've seen people that every year they are starting something new. Every year they are jumping one. It's because they don't have a direction. They don't know where they want to go. So the first thing is you have to decide what direction are you going in every major area of life. Don't try to be somebody else. You know, where am I traveling as an individual? What are the things that are important to me as an individual or to my family? Who do I want to become? I think I mentioned in chapter 4 that talks about the environment. Is when you start the year, this is how I start the year. I start the year by thinking about the end. Is that, Jacob, by the end of this year, who do you want to become? What version of yourself do you want to meet at the end of the year? And then now I plan on how to get there. So because I have a clear direction at the beginning of where I want to be at the end, anything else that comes that does not take me to where I want to be at the end, even if it's a good opportunity, if it's a good opportunity for somebody else, then it's not going to get to where I want to go. And so that will be my encouragement to you, is that always think of the end. It's where do I want to be at the end of this season. And once you know that, once you settle that, then it helps you filter everything else that will come your way. I don't know if that's helpful, but we talk about that a lot in chapter 3. Always start with vision. Yeah.
Okay, Dr. Jacob, thank you very much for this inspiring book. I've not yet read it, but from these comments, I'm really feeling great. Still talking about failure. That is, take failure as practice. And you went ahead to talk about those who go to school. Some go without knowing what they're going to do, and they spend about 2-3 years, and others go knowing what they have to do. Then, when they complete, they feel that this is not what I was supposed to do, and then they feel like starting again. But there's students, not just students, but life. Those who are confronting life. Some people are not very courageous. They go, for instance, students go to school. After 2 years, they say, no, this is too much for me. I can't continue. And they just give up on life, become frustrated, and then end up somewhere on the streets or something. I know a friend of mine in primary school who really wanted to be a driver, and he went for driving tests maybe 100 times and never succeeded. And then he gave up. And he said this is probably not for me. Maybe when I went to construction. So what do we say to those who, when confronted with problems, they don't have that courage to say that, okay, I will fight on and make sure that I succeed. They simply just give up and probably their lives get ruined.
Yes, yeah. No, I mean that is a very, very relevant question. We are very big on having a great support network around everybody. I mean, you're going to find certain things that are really important to you, but you don't have the motivation. I think for such situations that you explained, and it's also important to think like, what network have I built around me to help support me, to help challenge me, to help encourage me when I feel discouraged, when I feel down as well. One of the people that helped me, and the people that helped me in this book, for instance, is that I had a network of people around me, and I made a promise to them, and they were holding me accountable. I tell them, guys, hold me. Every 2 weeks, I'm going to write a new chapter. Whether it's good or not, I'm going to send it to you. So I think for the areas where we struggle to accomplish our goals, one of the things, there are multiple ways, but one of the things that I found helpful is to look for people that can challenge you, people who can motivate you, and even some people that can hold you to account. For some of us, the reasons why when we become adults, we no longer hit goals is because there's no longer any pressure. Nobody is looking at you as are you done with this? Now, those who are wise, they look and they bring the pressure upon themselves because they know that that's what is going to help them. And that's what Solomon said. He says, in a multiple of counsel, he talked about wisdom of having a board of advisors, as I called it. And I think those people are important. Again, that's chapter 3. I talk about 3 types of people in the network. They are the BFFs. The kids know that, BFFs. Am I saying that? Right? Yes. Yeah. Your BFFs will not tell you the truth. They are your BFFs. Then there are your coaches. The coaches are people who know where you want to go to, and they are willing to tell you that you are missing the mark. Let me tell you, you are nowhere close to it. You know, like, you people are here, you are celebrating me. You know what, man? And he's giving us the opportunity to meet here to do this. They meet here every Sunday. I mean, have you done your PhD, my brother? Yeah, he's a doctor, he's done, and he's teaching as a pastor as well. Thank you very much. We'll talk about that later. But you see, I'm challenging you. Go ahead.
I just want to ask this, Brother Jacob. I think you made allusion to this either in one of our discussions. I don't know. Met in Cameroon. You made allusion to, I think, Proverbs 21:31. I'm saying that in allusion to chapter 2, where you talked about, where you try to balance this difference between faith and principles.
Yes.
I know we touched on it, but I want you to kind of build again on it a little bit, just to provide clarity.
Yes.
At what stage in life do I emphasize principles over faith? Or at what stage in life do I emphasize faith over principles?
Yeah.
Or how should I be able to harness both to ensure that I'm able to arrive at my desired destination?
Yes, this is really good, and this is it. And that was one of the great feedbacks that I got when I was writing the book, and I refined that section as well. I want you to go out here that, this book is not saying that faith in God, exercising faith is not important. In fact, I actually talked about it. When Paul was writing that the Lord can raise the dead, we people of faith, we believe that God is creator. And if we know that God is creator, it is not a long stretch to believe that God can bring somebody back to life. You take it to Toyota or mechanic and they bring it back to life because they built the car. And that's what we call miracles. We serve a God who keeps doing miracles. Now let me give you an example that comes from the Bible. When God took the people of Israel, the Bible says for 40 years he took them. Their feet stepped in the promised land that he had promised them. That same day, it says all the manna stopped. I hope you are hearing me. Promised land. Why? Because God says that the time of miracle is past. When you are in need of something that you cannot do, God is going to give you. But if you sit there on what you can do, and you're expecting God to do a miracle, then you are abusing faith and you don't understand what faith is. That is the balance that the book tries to bring.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful. We are going to invite our brother to take a seat at the table. It's time for us to do the signing, the official signing. And we also have refreshments at the back. Just a reminder, if you don't have your book yet, you can get a copy. We do receive cash and also interact. So you can move over there. If you have your copy and it has not been signed by the author, please, you can go closer. The table is all ready. You can also get a bite and mingle and make friends and talk about the book while we get more copies of the book and share to our friends, our acquaintances, everybody you think or you know or you believe this book is going to make an impact in your life. Please don't hesitate. Get a copy for them. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for this time that you spent, promoting our brother. We appreciate it and we pray that God bless you and take you back to your various ways. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Grab something to eat, grab something to drink. Thank you.